Hello everybody, I am doing a presentation on Hela. She's a Norse goddess of the underworld. She's actually a Jotner, which is a female Jotun race. And she is the daughter of Loki. And her mother is Angerborda. So, Hela. Here are her runes that would represent her. We have Hagalaz, Isa, and Ear. And the bind rune to go to visit Helheim or visit her is Hagalaz and Rido bind rune. Now, I work with the Elder Germanic Futhork. I don't work with the weird rune. I take that out all the time. I work with the 24 runes. Well, anyways, without further ado, here is Hela. And I also use this to represent her. And it's actually a good representation of her. Now, Hela will be seen, some people see her coming half rotted down the side and half beautiful. Or others will see her like this, sort of like she's pale. She'll always be like, have that pale look. And then on the bottom, pretty much wasted away or skeletal. So she could either be of white polar flesh and rotted flesh or skeletal. Now some people have seen her come as a beautiful young lady, then she'll age, rot, become a skeleton, and then come back to being young again. And as you see here, we have the sun and the moon, meaning life and death, light and dark. So that's what she is, and she's with her serpent Nidhogg. And we have Garm. That is not Fenris. Sorry, my throat is dry. So, anyways, Hela, or Hel, or Hol, Helya, is the ruler of Helheim in Niflheim. So, and she has, of all the worlds, she has the biggest, because she has to accompany the dead, the ones that died of a straw death. Meaning, three places I know that the dead go, okay, is the valiant dead, the glorious dead. When they die, they'll either go to Freya's hall, Folksvan, the field of the folk, or into Odin's hall, Asgard, or to Helheim, if they did not die a glorious death. Now, there are different areas in this world, let me show you. And depending on her judgment of you is where you're going to go. Some places in Helheim is beautiful. Other places, it's not a good place to be, and some places are worse than others. So let's get right to her and what she is. And Hell, a very vast place, has great towering walls, and it's called Nangrinder, the corpse fence, and great glorious gates. It's guarded by her hound, Garm, who is said to have gore and blood on him, especially coming out of his mouth. He makes sure that he guards the dead from those who should not be there, if you're not welcomed, and those from escaping until it's time for reincarnation. So her great hall is El Elhunir, which is icy cold. Okay, she walks very slow. People see her very slow, and she only moves with gracefulness when she sits at the table. Now, if she moves fast, you're in trouble. She's a goddess that moves slow. But when she gets angry, she's going to move very fast, and you don't want that at all. Also, when you call her, you're going to notice a stench. And she deliberately does that to show you your mortality, to show you the power of death. So if you have a morbid fear of death, a real morbid thought of death, or if you're afraid, or if death makes you depressed, maybe she's not for you. Okay? Another thing is, some people see her, and I've seen her come like a black swirl when you call her. And oh, the atmosphere gets so thick, like a knife, that you can cut the sacred space with a knife. When she talks, she has this low, grovelly voice. Like she smokes a lot of cigarettes. She, like, as if she had, her voice is like she coughed a lot or something, and like the, like liquor, like whiskey and cigarettes voice. And when she touches you, when you call her, she's gonna reach out her hand. It's either gonna be a skeletal hand or a rotten hand. And thank goodness for small favors, because if she reaches out with a beautiful hand, that means she's reaching out to the dead that way. So she's gonna greet you with a skeletal hand like this, or a rotted hand, and you are to take that hand and kiss it. And if you don't, she'll just leave. She's got no time for you if you don't respect her. So, sorry, I'm got a little bit of head cold, not COVID, thankfully. Okay, so she eats from a plate called famine or hunger. And her knife, I'm sorry, her dish is called hunger. Sorry, hunger. And the knife is called famine. The knife is called famine, and her dish that she eats is called hunger. Now, on the road to her, it's called Helvig, which means troublesome road, or the highway to hell. Also, the bed which she sleeps on is called sick bed, sometimes disease bed. The threshold to her hall is known as stumbling block. Now, on her bed, the curtains that hang from it is called the hangings of misfortune. She has two servants called Ganglat and Ganglati. They're male and female, and it's called, they're like slow walkers, or their name means slow walker or lady walker, because they move so slow you don't think they're moving, but they are. They're moving, just like her. Now, Nidhogg means malice striker. She uses that Nidhogg on the dead, especially if she needs to. And she has a battle maiden prowling the grounds. Her name literally means battle maiden, Mengwa. So, also, with her, okay, so her day is known as July 10th. Her direction, you'd face north and look down. Her elements are ice, frost. It's literally ice, the element ice, as well as earth. Ice and earth are her elements. Also, people have been using Samhain now for her day. And also the true Samhain is actually a little bit after October 31st. It will be on Scorpio in the 15th degree. That is also used as her day. Hela is very powerful. She is extremely powerful. She has her realm named after her, which was forced upon her, given to her by Odin. Because when there was a prophecy about Loki's children from Angerborda, that they would cause problems. And her brothers are Fenris and Jormungand. So they kept a good watch, the Aesir, on the three children. They took them off Loki, of course, and when the gods were trying to eat around her because of her sight, the way she looked, and because they smelled, they couldn't deal with it anymore. So it was said that Odin gave her her realm, but also was said to pick her up and throw her. Either way, he had her promise to take care of the dead, and she swears that she will feed the dead no matter how many dead there are. A lot of people who have encountered her realm, who went there spiritually, it is not cold and dank as they said. That she actually has open skies. She made plants, and she made it very beautiful and hospitable once she took over that realm, and the realm was then named after her. So, and also, I'll get into Balder, and how Nana is there, and how one of Loki's other children is there, Narvi. So, her name means hidden. Helheim is the hidden realm. Hell is hidden. Her colors are black and white, and some associate gray with her. Her day is Saturday. Some of her plants and stuff are beech, myrrh, definitely myrrh. The plants, resins, and roots. Dragon's blood, whether it's the liquid or the dried up resin. Mullein, elm, elder, blackthorn, yew, yew, ivy. The moss that you can find growing on tombstones would be associated with her. Dried roses, dried ones, are good for her. Yarrow, rue. Okay, so stones that you can use with her that resonate very well with her. Black shamanite, the Master Shamanite, sorry, Master Shamanite, which is black calcite, jet, obsidian, smoky quartz, the metal called lead. Be careful with that one. Lead is excessively toxic. You should not be breathing it in, and you should not touch it. If you uh, use it with great caution. That's all I can tell you. Use it with great caution because it will cause toxicity and you won't like it. So, just trying to think what other things are good with her. Oh, what's the other stone that's good with her? I lost my train of thought. Anyways, so other things that she likes, black and black candles and white candles, flame, a little fire to keep her warm, tea. A lot of people have noticed she likes tea. She likes good, strong spirits like whiskey, tequila. Honestly, she does. She likes alcohol. Mead. She definitely loves mead. She's even said to even when Balder, before he came, they were preparing batches of mead. She had that planned. Anything that you would feed your ancestors is good for her. Soup, bread, meat, apples. She even has, she in her realm, she actually has an apple tree. She has an orchid of her own. Apples. Your own blood. Little drops. You don't need to put a lot. You don't need to slit your wrist or anything. Chocolate. Oh my God, she loves chocolate. Coffee beans. Or you can make her a good strong cup of coffee. But coffee beans. So it's suggested that if you leave offerings on her altar, you should let them rot if you can. Plantain leaves. Yes, she actually likes those. Apple juice. Why not? She likes apples. You can make her an apple pie. You can have an apple pie. That'd be good. Honey, because you need meat and honey to make mead. She likes red wine. So all, of course, her herbs and stuff. But please be careful of children with certain herbs. And roses are not good for cats to eat because it causes them to have diarrhea. So just be on your guard. Don't let your cat or dog drink the tea or the coffee because the caffeine can really hurt them and cause tachycardia, which is, I'm not going to get into that. Another thing that you can work with is obsidian mirror or a black mirror. Okay, other things. Service offerings for her. Things that you can offer her are to aid the dying, to be a comfort to those who are about to pass, to care for the physically ill and the mentally ill, the chronically ill, those who are special needs. She likes you to help with feeding the poor. Now you gotta understand she's very cold in some ways, where she don't give a crap where her altar's placed or where her statue's placed. You can place her next to Odin for all she cares. But the other gods may not want her near them. So just be on your aware of that. She's very lovable, yes, but she's also pitiless, merciless. She does what needs to be done. She is a witch. She's a goddess of witchcraft. As you can see, there's images like the vulva there, and that represents the female witch. She does not like you harassing the dead. Meaning, she doesn't like people calling her, to do stupid shit or do stupid shit with the Ouija boards and be a bunch of drunk teens and, hey, let's break out the Ouija board and let's go have a seance and harass the dead. Hey, I know, we can go to that cemetery and spray paint everything and pee on everything and smash everything. She doesn't like that. So you can actually call her to punish those who do that. And she probably gladly will, because she's cold like that. So when she says no to you, you know how you can placate other gods? You can like make deals and bargains with Loki and Odin. They kind of like that. When she says no, it means no. Okay? And if you keep going against her will, what she wants, she may decide to punish you. And she'll make that punishment harsh to teach you the lesson that you need to learn. She'll hit you in the head with a 2x4 and tell you, hey, stupid, wake up. Her no does not mean maybe, could be, should be, oh well, possibly. It means no. No means no, nada, nah, no, nein, niet. How many times do I have to say it? No, 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 no. She rides a horse, a black horse. Can't forget that. A black horse with 3 legs, a mare. And sometimes her wagon is pulled by a 3-legged mare. During the bubonic plague, she was said to either carry a broom or a rake. So, if she took her rake and swung it, there would be survivors and those who died from the plague. If she used the broom, oh well, everyone's dead. Mount Hecla is said to be one of the entrances to her realm. There's several references. And Hecla means to be covered up, interestingly enough. Other things about her is that she's good to have on your side, but know that she could be very, very cold, and she could be very, she's a domineering, okay? She can be very domineering, and, she gives you advice, you should listen to it. And if you don't listen to it, oh well. Now, people have said, oh, she's like Santa Muerte. Wow, I saw a statue that's of Santa Muerte that's half pale and with skin, and the other half a skeleton. Now, yes, you can use that image of Santa Muerte to represent hell. And when I first saw that statue, I thought it was hell, but it was Santa Muerte. I thought it was hell. They are not the same being. Okay? They have different energies, and Hela will not do some of the things that Santa Muerte does. If scenario, if you know a lady, let's say a lady or a man who marries an abusive person, they know there's an abusive person, and you try to help them with Hela, she may not help them. She said, they made their bed, let them lie in it. They need to learn a lesson. Or a woman keeps getting beat up by her husband and she calls the police, but then she doesn't file a police report and go through with it, she's going to say, what do you want me to do about it? Okay? So in some conditions, she may help. But if it's going to go against the lessons you really need to learn because you stepped in it, or something going on with your Orlog, she's not going to interfere. Okay? As you can see, she has a very stern face, very cold face. She is a dark goddess. In Wicca, she's called a crone, although she's part young maiden, part crone, or rotted. So her people that she likes are those who care for the dead, patroness, matroness, whatever you want to say it, the patron of those who work in funeral parlors, those who work with the dead, those like coroners, medical examiners, all that. Those who help the sick and the dying, those who help those who cross over, those who work in cemeteries, are her people. Other things about her is that her oil that you can make together is myrrh oil and storax oil. Blend them together, 50% each. Now, if you want, you can add some dragon's blood resin or dragon's blood, the liquid resin. And there's actually edible liquid resin, but you have to make sure it's the edible kind, or you're going to poison yourself. And don't blame me, because I just warned you. You could put a little drop of the liquid resin, and you don't want to drink this oil, by the way. Not a warning. And you make a nice Hela oil. Just make sure to keep it away from children, dogs, and cats, and pets, because essential oils, especially a lot of them, are not good for them. They don't have the liver enzymes to digest them, so it becomes toxic as they absorb it, and you're going to have a problem. She likes the dark, she likes the night, she does. She likes the colder areas. She was also said to bring bad weather, the goddess of bad weather. In fact, we get the name Hail from hell. We even get the name helmet from hell to cover your head. So, but anyways, she was said to bring snow, the cold winds, like a weather goddess, but a bad weather goddess. So I'm using goddess. A lot of people those who seem to shy away from Jotun, seem to gravitate towards her. Now the story of Balder, sorry, he had a nightmare, and every time he went to sleep, Hela said, in 3 days, you'll be in my arms. He was frightened of this. He went to his mother Frigga, and Odin, his father, and told him about the nightmare. So, make a long story short, Hela made sure that, well, this is a later story, made sure that, and a little bit most popular, made sure that everything promised not to hurt Balder. Except for the mistletoe, because it was either insignificant or too young to take an oath. Well, he became invincible, for the most part, except for mistletoe. And the gods found out, and they had such great sport, and were throwing things. But before they had this great sport. Loki came as a woman, and they were talking to Frigga. She was talking to Frigga and wanted to know what was going on. I think Hela mentioned to Loki, like, I want Balder for myself. And he said, well, I made everything promise not to hurt hurt Balder, and then except for mistletoe. Well, Loki doesn't, he went off and made a mistletoe spearhead, a little weapon, and all the gods were having great sport. So then he came to hold, and he was the blind god, and he wanted to participate, but he couldn't see. But so Loki put it in his hand and said, "I'll guide your hand," and the rest was fate. You know the story. He went to Helheim because he did not die in war. He was invincible. He did not fight back, and plus he was invincible. So he didn't die in battle. So he didn't get to go to Valhalla in Asgard. So Valhalla. Sorry, but when you die, I said Asgard, but it's Valhalla in Asgard. In Iceland, some people pronounce in Iceland, the double L is like a k sound. So it could be Valhalla is okay, or Valhalla and Volkswagen. Now there's an older story that by Saxo Grammaticus where Hod the dark god and Baldur the bright god did not like each other, and because they were fighting over the hand of Nana, which Baldur was married to. Then of course Hod kills him with the spear, and he still ends up in Helheim. Either way, Odin, after his son died, of course during the funeral pyre, no one knows what Odin said to Baldur but those two, but he said something. And he sent Hermod, who was willing to go, to Helheim, and he gave him his horse Sleipnir, which means a slippery one, and a eight-legged horse, a child of Loki, gift to Odin. And it said that he took about 9 days to get to Helheim, and he was allowed in, and they thought he was going to see dreariness and horribleness. Instead, Hermod was greeted with greatness. And in fact, it was before Baldur died, everyone in Helheim, there were so many people cooking and making mead, and Hela ordered for the greatest mead to be made. And a great feast. And of course, when Baldur died, Nana dies of a broken heart, so she goes to Helheim. She goes to hell too. But there was great feasting. And Baldur was very happy. And in fact, when Baldur came, straws of gold was thrown on the floor. Ooh, bad place, huh? There was merriment, music, dancing, food, and Hermod was allowed to stay the night. And in fact, Baldur was allowed to walk him outside the gates of Helheim. Now, the deal was that Odin wanted his son back. Deal was is that if everyone cries in all the universe for Baldur, she'll let him go. Well, everyone did weep. Everyone, everything, even the little mistletoe wept. But one being, Thok, an old crone, Thok, who said, I will not cry. Baldur never did anything for me. Let hell keep what she has. Well, Thok was actually Loki, shape shifting. So the deal was set. Balder stays. So into Ragnarok. And that's even debated of what it is. Ragnarok, which is actually pronounced Ragnarok. And some people say it's just a great calamity. Others say, well, it is the way it is written in the prose by Snorri Sturluson. But you gotta understand, all the stories were written by Christians. Saxo Grammaticus was a Christian. Snorri Sturluson was a Christian monk. And he had to be careful of how he wrote things down, or he would be burnt at the stake. Plus, for heresy. Plus, he was very he romanticized everything. So, of course, they put a Christian spin, and as time used to go on and on and on, you see Loki become more and more mean, vindictive, evil, because the Christians got to have a devil. And, of course, Hela is his daughter to... So, to the devil, a daughter, right? So, I'm not going to really debate this. I'm just giving you what I see. You remember to read between the lines and between the lies and understand the, yes, the monks did preserve some of the history of our gods and goddesses. However, sometimes they twist it to fit the Christian narrative. Well, just like the Bibles was translated and things were taken out and transliterations and things were put in, and depending on your Christian belief and Christian sect, your Bible, we have more books or less books, and I'm not. That's what I'm talking about. What they did to fit their narratives. So they made the pagan gods to fit the Christian narrative. So that's why you'll see a lot written chapters on the male gods and maybe little few paragraphs like this big. I have a whole book on the goddesses. So we don't see a lot written by Hel, and some people even wonder, was she really real? Or was she just the power of death? Oh yeah, she's real. But that's for you to decide, not for me to decide, tell you what to believe. So, she loves witches. She works with witchcraft. Her magic is very powerful. In fact, she's considered one of the most powerful Jotnar. And the gods gotta respect her decision. She has a boat, a ship, that said that she will sell in Ragnarok, or she does have a ship, and it's called Nail Ship, because it's made from the toenails and the fingernails of the dead. The whole thing. Isn't that cute? Either way, she has a ship made of nails. So, but now her animals: wolves, dogs, crows, ravens, snakes, and a three-legged black mare. Also, the ram. People associate ram with her, and as you see right there, it's covering her genital area. Ooh, thinking of her throne, petrified wood is also another thing. And ammonites. Forgot those. So petrified things. Anything that's a fossil can represent her. Fossils, petrified wood, coal would go along with that. Ammonites are also good for her stones to connect with her. Is she the most approachable goddess? No. She is not. In fact, she scares the crap out of people. And when she touches you, by the way, it feels like dead wood scraped, like branches, like bare branches there, scraping off you, and that's her skeletal hand. And it said she reaches out her good hand, her parlor hands with flesh onto the dead, and she appears very beautiful to them. But she appears in her gruesome form, and she does it deliberately with her. She definitely does it deliberately with her rotted hand. So when Odin changed, the sons, the young sons, and we're talking about preteen sons, went into a wolf, or it could be a code for being a nut, to tear apart Narvi and use his guts to bind Loki. Narvi goes to Helheim, and Helheim takes good care of him, her half brother. As you can see, she has a scepter. She's a very powerful, willful, strong goddess. Goddess of the feminine mysteries. Goddess of necromancy. Yes, necromancy. Divination. Magic. She could be used to bind people, to curse people, or to help those cross over, to help with healing of the sick and those, to protect, to at least for those who are mourning, those who are dead. Goddess of plagues. I mean, she was also the goddess of black plagues. So right now what we're going through, COVID-19, could be associated with this goddess. She is very protective, but she can also be used for punishments. And my God, if she gets mad, ooh, it can be very hard to placate her. Do not let her get mad at you. I'm not telling you not to worship her, but be respectful of her. I've never had a problem with Hela. Now, I don't always approach her every day, like I do with some other deities. That is true. But when you approach her, sometimes she's silent. She may not even talk. She may talk to you through symbols, or just use pictures. Like she'll show you things like a movie, or like pictures or symbols and stuff like that. She's also the goddess of deep meditation and deep sleep. Like you have different stages of sleep. You have the hypnotic stage 0, then you have different stages. 1, 2, 3 REM. Then we'll just keep from hypnotic to from stage 0, 1, 2, 3 REM, then 1, 2, 3 REM, 1, 2, 3 REM. You won't go back into the stage 0 unless you wake up and you go back into the hypnotic and you go 1, 2, 3 REM. The third stage of sleep is the closest to the realm of the dead, like almost like comatose. So even in comatose states, you'll be closer to her realm, to her. There are those who are very dedicated to her. Yes, very dedicated. And you'll also notice that she is very revered in Roker True. Roker True. Roker True. or Roker True, just called Roker True. And it's a newer religion, maybe about a decade or so, maybe around a decade, a little bit over a decade old. Started by Abby Hela. I believe she's, yeah, New Zealand. Now, it's not a Reconstructionist religion because we don't know how they were worshipped. So it's a newer religion. But she's also one of the Roker, which means the shadow. So true to the shadow. I know she's honored in Thursa True, which is different than Roker True. Roker, well, just like Roker True. Thursa True is different. It's not the same religion. It's northern religion dealing with the Jotuns, but it's a bit different. It's different. Again, not a Reconstructionist religion. So, she's one of the shadows. She represents the shadow side of yourself too, while we're at it. The shadow side that needs to also be taken care of, unless the shadow acts up. Anyways, it is said that when you feed her, you're also feeding the dead, that she uses it to feed her massive dead. And she has a lot to feed, and she said she would protect them and help them. But there are also places among the dead that are not good. There's when you get to the shores of her bank, it's like wailing and moaning, the rivers of moaning, and there's actually a castle there, and she puts some of the really bad people there, and where they're constantly having snake venom dripped on them. So, I hope I told you a lot about her. And I want to just go on a little bit more about her. Let me get my tissue, sorry. Some people have seen her with blonde hair, where she would have blonde hair. Others put her as black. There is a book. I should have bought it with me here. It's called, oh, shoot. It's the only book and it's really good. And I forgot to put it out here. I can go get it. Let me go get it. I'll bring you guys with me. Hey, unplugged it. I'm going to get the book, and I'm going to talk to a little bit about her. Sorry, I don't want everyone to see my home. Hell can be a great, powerful aid. She is also one of the good things to feed her with. Is your own anger and depression. And when you feel depressed, what you do is you build up that depression. And you send it to her. You can hold her statue and let that be food for her. When you feel angry, you can give her your anger and your depression. And you can relieve yourself of that anger and depression. When you feel anxiety and you're scared, you can give her that as food. As here, Hela, take that. Now, here's the book. Holy. A devotional for Hela by Dagan Madir. Really, the only one of its kind. It has essays, poetry, prayers, and rituals. And it's got some nice illustrations in it, graveyards and pictures, songs too. Ooh, it's got songs. Forgot about that. And I read a good portion of it. I'm not done, but it's the only book on Hela. Done very well by Dagian Madir. Beautiful, beautiful book. You can only get it from the best way to get it is through lulu.com. Lulu.com. There is nothing like that. Sorry, Mike. So, feed her your uncertainties. Feed her your fear. Feed her your sadness. Give her that as food. Let go and unload yourself. Hela, take it from me. I can't bear it anymore. Take it from me. And she will gladly take it. She could be used to remove stubborn dead, but she can also be used to haunt, especially if you degrade the dead. Now, also another thing that you can give her is actually, with respect, collect things from the graveyard. Well, what you take from the graveyard, please leave an offering. It could be a little bit of candy. Make sure you don't get caught leaving offerings, because you could be considered littering the graveyard. So just be careful what, you can leave some crystals or little stones, a little, or, some food or little flowers. I mean, no one's gonna fault you from leaving flowers on a graveyard, right? On someone's tomb. And you can take some of the dirt. You can give her some of that, or something from the graveyard. Make sure if something, if it doesn't feel right, then don't do it. Okay? If you got a bad feeling about some place in the graveyard, don't do it. And remember, always, say, hey, do you mind if I take some dirt and give them? That's what I do. I recommend people do that. I've heard of some horror stories, so I don't want that to happen to you. So just, you know what? An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, right? An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And she'll tell you that. Hela has great advice, but if you don't listen and mess up, don't blame her. So there's so much to learn and so much to work with this goddess. A lot of people find her very wonderful, and very, especially grief counseling. Grief counselors are her people too, because they help people when they have to deal with losing someone. Grief counseling. And she's also good for grief. So I hope you've learned a lot, and thank you for tuning in. And I know I talked a lot, and I hope you learned a lot. And I really appreciate you for watching this, especially if you got this far and didn't get bored with me. If you like this video, please like and subscribe if I earned it. And feel free to share this video. Blessed be. And praise and glory to the old ones. Thank you, and blessed be. And good night, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. It's 3:13 a.m. for me, so I gotta go. Blessed be.